When two universes collide, they must come together and fight.
Ultron! Maria! Ultron! Maria! Ultron! It's Maria! Hyphen it is. Hey guys! What kind of government you have? Called hierarchy. Both is good. Okay, Dan. Bye.
In the country of Maria, we have 9 major cities. Most everything is village life though, so these are the only ones we really have marked. Now, the cities I have down are Antilerhico, Beergard, Diadre, Skia, Serenity, Methuselah, Amma, Baku, and another border town is to be named. Antilerhico is mainly border patrol because it hits the border of 3 different countries. Beergard is more relations, like where all the ambassadors go from the capital of Diadre up to there, to go mainly into this country, which we're not necessarily allies with, unlike over here, which is the country of Akuji, which we're allies with. Amma and Baku are both trade cities, for they both are on a river that connects into Akuji. This is another border town just to make sure that relations with these guys are good. Skia is mainly a farming community, even though most everyone here does some sort of part in farming, but they are the main farming community and are able to get boats back and forth between the capital. Serenity is mainly a mining city because that is where a big concentration of coal along with here, but mainly we have villages around here and other sorts of shrines, so they're not necessarily marked. Methuselah is the travel and shipping city, which goes from back and forth to get the resources from here and up here, but it's easier for them to do that. And those are our major cities.
In Maria, we don't have every single resource, but we have a lot of fresh water with the rivers that connect here. We have uranium. We also have diamonds and precious metals, along with different vegetation, seafood, coal, and livestock. There is a bit more that I wasn't able to get on this map, but we are able to use all of this to either trade with neighboring countries. Mainly we ship a lot of the coal we get over to this country, same with uranium. And we do have a few iron deposits, so it makes it easier for us to get a bit more developed. And the plentiful food, livestock, and vegetation makes it so that as long as we don't have a super high population, which we shouldn't have, we should get it around. Because pretty much every city that is not a minor village shouldn't have over 1 million people. Not even get to 1 million. Pretty much less than 500,000 people per city, unless it is the capital, just because of how many people kind of have to go through it. I had everyone settle in a different location because it's either really close to somewhere else so that these people can also have lumber from our broadleaf evergreen, even though there are a few mountainous regions in the Kalahari Desert, but as long as we can get minor villages from every city around here to go there, it should be fine. I set up the cities here for borders on each corner, along with relations. Capital, it's because there's a river that flows here and it connects right here to the Mozambique Channel. I set this one here because there was a lot of commercial farming and nomadic herding, and I set this one here because this is where the coal is located. And these two are right on some rivers, which is why I had them settle here. This is another border state that's close enough to the river, but also close enough to Akuji.
I only set up major cities where I know there would be resources to handle that.
Oh, I wonder what I'm going to do with all these metals.
Well, you can trade! Where is your trade partner?
Hey. I got some lumber. You want some lumber?
We can offer you some precious metals.
Hey, I like me some precious metals there.
Hey.
Oh. You brought my currency.
Never mess with a gay lumberjack.
And never start a war with your trade partners.
Oh, this is a turn for the worse.
If that doesn't work, you try new trading partners.
Hey. Washing uranium?
Well, I have water. If I can get it out.
Washing?
Well, yeah.
Oh, you little...
And that is not how trading works. Your civilization will, in fact, fall apart. Glad not them.
Coming to no theater near you.
Here in Maria, we have like 3 allies, but there's only one I really work with. This is a representation of that ally.
Hello. In communism, there is no freedom. There is no happiness.
Akuji's communist and run by Tyson, but he's not here.
No happiness, only the world.
We're good friends! Earlier we demonstrated how to trade things, but this time I'm going to show you a more specific trade on how my country, Maria, does it with my allies, Akuji. Now these are to represent both of us as leaders of the country, and what we trade between the country. Now, Akuji would trade more precious metals, and we have agreed to trade precious metals for things such as coal and possibly livestock in some points. Now all we'd do is, I'd pretty much, if it's from here, we'd ship it over to Methuselah to give it to Amma or Baku to go over here so that we could pick up the precious metal and bring it over here. That's not necessarily the only thing that we could trade. We also have things such as lumber. Mainly, we send that over so that Akuji can make factories, and they can make weapons and that kind of stuff if the time arises. We're a pretty close alliance, it's just easiest that way.
Now, the religion of Sangui started in about, I don't know, 2000, and it has been long running and pretty well done throughout the years, and are you even listening to me? Well, here in Maria, the religion of Sangui runs through us all. It is very simple. It's not too complicated. Mainly, we have about 6 rules. Get away from here, you drafted bug. Let's see. We have to always keep the symbol alive. If this focuses, it would be better. To be charitable within the walls, to help all of your siblings. Be good to your allies and keep your enemies away. Only take what's needed. Keep your tools sharp and your wits sharper. And fight to keep your allegiance strong. And those are the simple rules. I was briefly explained that my country runs on a hierarchy, cult sort of system. I mean, theocracy. We're totally not a cult. But anyways, our ranking system, instead of being a pyramid, making this hard to get to, we have a small amount of this and a smaller amount of this. The lowest you can be is a minor in the city of Serenity. It is pretty much the lowest class, but because they're still important, we do need a bit more people in there because they do produce fuel for the whole country. And the two most that there can be are farmers and traders. Farmers are the only ways we can get our food, even though everyone farms. There are a few cities that are mainly farming, such as Beergard, and a few of the trade cities dabble in it. Same with Methuselah, even though they are a shipping and traveling city, because they're so close to trade routes. They farm as well because it helps get more to trade and more for the country itself. The traders are the people who mainly deal with back and forth, making sure nothing wrong happens. But we also need them because it brings money to our country. The border and high military are higher to the top because that would be more upper class, because they help to keep our country safe and guided and tell people where to evacuate to, or if there needs to be something in case of enemies or some sort of zombie onslaught. And the highest ranked, but not much of, is the religious leaders. They mainly take up the most upper class parts of Diodore, the capital, because that happens to be where the main temple is for the religion. There are only a handful of people who make it up here, but it also takes your entire life to be able to somehow get up to here. How the ranks work is mainly if you're born somewhere, you can be born into a family of these, but you can never be born into high military or religious leaders. You always have to work for those. But it is very simple to get up to there as long as you follow the rules.
My survival plan to survive this zombie apocalypse is very simple. So far, I have all of my resources planned out, who I'm allied with, and how exactly I'm going to use those things to my advantage, along with what I will give my citizens in return. Hope. When you lose all hope, it's harder to fight, but when I give them something to fight for, it makes it easier for us to survive as a whole. And because of the certain rules in here, it should promote working together with people you are allied with, which is what I need in this sort of time. We will also be training most people at a young age how to defend themselves from either enemies or the undead. Well, not necessarily undead. There's only a virus in this. We will try to use our resources steadily, not trying to overuse anything, and we'll try to keep everything as limited as possible without starving everyone of needs. How this should work in 5 to 10 years is, if all goes to plan, the rank system should still work, and even though there are the lower ranked areas, I'm not going to make it so that it is so low ranked that they're not able to get what they need and make it seem like they have nothing to do. When it comes to things such as a warring country or a peaceful country, I will only ever try to strive for global domination if it is in my best interest. Mainly if we have enough resources to do so, and if it'll destroy my country in the process. So far I am allied with 3 different people, even though 2 of them are on different continents. It is mainly a goal to say that if they take over those areas, they won't ever really come after me, because I have something to give them if they do reach me. Our survival guide pretty much is all that kind of stuff. It's not too overcomplicated, because the more you overcomplicate it, the harder it gets. And yes, that concludes my presentation for world domination.